continuing on with development, you have the blastocyst that implants itself into endometrium and continues embryonic development. And we can see what happens here, starting with this flat development model. And here we have a layer of cells called the syncytiotrophoblast. It develops from the trophoblast that you saw in a different video. And the syncytiotrophoblast, it digests the endometrium. And it helps the endometrium, it helps develop a space in the endometrium where this embryo can develop. And it also provides the embryo with the first nutrients during its development. Again, this grayish stuff is the syncytiotrophoblast, and this pink stuff is called the cytotrophoblast. Now, it becomes some embryonic membranes later. And here we have the embryo. The embryo consists of the ectoderm, the pink mesoderm, the yellow endoderm. The rest of the yellow is going to be the yolk sac, and then the rest of this blue is going to be the amnion. And this is the endometrium of the uterus and maternal blood vessels, maternal arteries, maternal veins, and that's a uterine gland. Now, a little bit later, this cytotrophoblast becomes the chorion. So this pink layer is called the chorion, and part of that's going to become the placenta later. It secretes hormones, it provides the embryo with nutrients. These little finger-like projections or folds are called chorionic villi. And the embryo is attached to the chorion at this little part called the embryonic stalk. And the embryonic stalk becomes the umbilical cord later. And the embryo at this point consists of this blue layer, the ectoderm, the pink, the mesoderm, the yellow, the endoderm. Now the rest of the yellow becomes the yolk sac, and the rest of this blue will become the chorion. Sometime later, here we have the chorion. This folds, the chorionic villi. At this stage, that embryonic stalk's becoming the umbilical cord. The embryo is surrounded by the amnion. The space is the amniotic cavity. And then there's the yolk sac. Now, some people think that these are blood vessels, uterine blood vessels of the endometrium. That's not the case. These are embryonic blood vessels. Outside of the developing embryo, that's where the maternal blood vessels are located. A little bit later, parts of the chorion start to develop into the placenta. This is the placenta. And the placenta is partly made up of the chorion and partly made up of the endometrium. So together they make up the placenta. Umbilical cord, the yolk sac, which is going to fuse with the umbilical cord later, fetus, this blue material is the amnion, amniotic cavity. Now, part of the chorion develops into the placenta. The rest of the chorion and a little bit of the endometrium, they degrade. Only part of it becomes a placenta. And we have different stages of embryonic development. This is 1 month. And there's the embryo, the umbilical cord, the amnion, chorion. This is 2 months. The embryo, umbilical cord, placenta, amnion. The next few stages are 5 months. And this is a transverse position where it's kind of horizontal in the uterus. And there we can see the placenta again. This is another transverse position. There you can see the umbilical cord. It's kind of dark. Placenta. Really hard to tell what that is. You got some twins developing. If it comes out during birth, breech position. If it's coming out gluteal region first, it's supposed to come out head first. And this is 7 months. This fetus, getting close to full term, is in normal position. It's going to come out head first. This is 7 months. And you can see the placenta